All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the green-white checkered, green-white checkered TV. There we go, with the Area 51 Superspeedway series here tonight at Talladega, race number 1 of the 4-race playoff. So we're gonna see again. It's playoff time, so we're gonna go through some of that info, of course, as qualifying completes right now. As say 75 laps race distance, again 2.65 mile track, lots of room here at Talladega. So I think we'll see plenty of that third groove coming into play as well. And so say we'll kind of get to the important stuff right off the bat, and that is going to be our standings entering tonight's event. So you can see these are the top 8 drivers up there in the list above. So you got Gabe Butler, Kevin Freese, Kevin Hash, Charles Johnson, Eric Laurie, Raymond Rittenauer, and Dean Wilkinson and Dale Willoughby. Those will be the 8 drivers competing for the for these final 4 races to try to be the season champion. Unfortunately, I'd say work is already kind of throwing things out of whack for one of those drivers with the number 5 of Kevin Freese. So I'd say he's going to be at a pretty big deficit into the next 3 races. So he had to kind of got called in late notice to work. So unfortunately, he will not be able to make it tonight. So we'll see how he's able to go through the final races for those final 3, because he could definitely make a big run in those final 3 still. So even with him missing a race here tonight, I would not count that number 5 out this evening. Alright, so say while we drivers making their qualifying laps, say again, going to go over the race info. So again, race distance 75 laps is a scheduled distance. Always potential for those green-white checker finishes might go a little bit longer than that. We'll have to wait and see on that side of things. Fuel window, of course, going to be a little bit on the short side of it, being a 2-stopper. Suspect we'll see drivers in around that lap 20 to 22 mark most likely. We'll have to see if that comes into play or not as well. So we'll wait and see how that all pans out tonight. And the other thing for tonight, I'll say unfortunately I'm going to be rolling, I believe solo. We'll see if I get a late appearance from some of the various broadcasters that are kind enough to kind of help me out here and there with some of these races. Unfortunately, my partner in crime, Dale, is going to be not in commission to broadcast tonight. He is out of town, starting a new job and house hunting and all the good fun. So Dale, I know I already see you in the chat having some fun over there with Chris. So I definitely miss you, but look forward to getting you settled in at your new job, new career. Hopefully soon new house as well, and that way I can try to lure you back into the booth as well for some of these future races. All right, we've got just about 30 seconds left in qualifying. A few drivers finishing up their laps. And again, though, I think we're going to see a mixed bag of strategy calls from these drivers, let's say. And we're also going to notice on the ticker, there's going to be a little bit of a confusion on some of the naming conventions for some of these drivers. Let's say a little bit of a hiccup on the way the naming was formatted. We'll have that fixed for next week. So apologies for tonight. But we'll probably have some fun with that one tonight. Be able to do that. And Dale, don't you worry. I will find the best white free candy van for you to be able to try to get you in. Lure you in and steal you for broadcasting purposes, but nothing else. Alright, so qualifying just has completed, so we're going to go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight. And again, we're going to have a slightly different grid here, it looks like, this evening, so it's going to be fun to see how this one's going to pan out. On pole position, it is going to be, pull up the right grid here, going to be the number 27 of Steve Korosik. Next to him is Sebastian Merida. We saw those 2 drivers really taking charge and trying to take control of that race last week. So it didn't pan out for them in the end, but I think they're going to be ones to watch. Zachary Lima as well. They're in the 26 car. And then you've got Matt Quick in 4th, Raymond Rittenauer in 5th. You're going to see a lot of names with a P on the end of them. So you see Raymond P right there, Kevin Hash. Then you got John Gabbard, Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler, also one of our playoff drivers. Then you have Robert DuPont, Eric Laurie, one of our playoff contenders, Paul Sheldon. Then you got Bradley Green, Charles Johnson, again, the P next to his name. Then you got Joseph Morales, Nick Manfredi, Michael Spell, Vicente Guerrero, Michael Taylor, Alberto Lopez, William George, Mark Mastrella, Bud Steele, Jack Walls. And we'll get through the final of the groups here. You got William George. Already did those guys. Sorry, everybody. You not being here, Dale, is throwing me off here. In 25th, you got Jim Brooks, Jay Hilliard, James Hickson, Todd. That's going to be Todd Siebels. Let's say he's actually a playoff sub potentially. So we'll keep an eye and say, depending on some certain drivers not making the race, he might actually be that 8th and final driver. We had some drivers missing some races. And then you've got Dean Wilkinson. I think Dean's going to be one of the kind of, I know, Dale, I know you're going to be rooting for Dean there. And then you got Dave Thatcher, Jason Middleton. And then 32nd, it does show Dale Willoughby. We'll have to see if he takes the grid, though, this evening. So I said that could affect the outcome of how this championship fight comes out into play tonight. So a lot of things to watch out for as the pace car is just about to get rolling here. At the moment, looks like we're going to have about 29, 30 drivers here taking part this evening. So front row, though, give me Steve Krosek, Sebastian Marin, to say those two teammates. I believe possibly also Zachary Lehman, the 26 car. So we're going to see, say, you kind of got a couple groups together there. You got those top 3 positions, and you got Matt Quick, Kevin Hash, Raymond Rittenauer, Dude Conrad. So we know what those guys can do when they're locked on with one another as well. So say we'll have to see. Say some of these guys, they've definitely thrown a wrench into the Team Bootknockers' plans a little bit. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. But again, 75 laps is the distance. And there's going to be a lot to deal with before that's all said and done. So we'll have to wait and see. So again, we'll try to keep an eye, kind of try to keep track of where those drivers are. But yeah, so right now, say on the playoff side of things, like we mentioned right now, Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, the highest of those that are in the top 8 here for the playoff in these final 4 races. Say also, I got a really, must say I'm looking over on the info side. I'm showing 15 people viewing right now. So, as for me having live for on the live side of things, really appreciate everybody here to support Greenwood Checker TV, support Area 51. There's a lot of fun stuff coming. I think there's going to be even more in the pipeline. As I know, there's a lot of stuff on the back end kind of being worked over. So. Definitely keep an eye on the Area 51 website, area51iracing.com, on their Facebook page, on their Discord. I think there's going to be some pretty good happenings coming in these future coming weeks. Because we're very close to finish up this season, starting off the next one. So this is our final playoff opener, I should say, and then next week on Tuesday we'll be starting the Indy Series as well. So. Going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, you're right, Dale. Dude is back in the 8 car, probably here to help support his teammates. And we know how much teammates can play a big role in these ones. We've seen it in a lot of races, even when they're a lap or so down. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see how this one's going to pan out. However, up front, it's going to be that 27 and the 23. Once that green flag flies, that is when they can drop the hammer and get going again. So we will see as they come through the tri-oval, past the Daytona start-finish line. Now the green flag is out. It's going to be Steve Krosek, Sebastian Marin leading the field to green here at Talladega. So far, so good up front. Nothing too crazy going on right off the bat. But this is what I was talking about. Now you're going to see on the left side on the left side, you're going to see a lot of names with just the letter P. So hopefully you know your favorite driver's number if they are in the playoffs. So say you see the 87 there. Of course, that'll be Raymond Rittenauer, the 03 Kevin Hash, the number 9 Charles Johnson. So you're going to see some of those here this evening. So again, we got it squared away for next week, but for this week, I'll say there's going to be a lot of drivers with just the name P on track here tonight. So so right now, though, it's going to be Steve Krosek leading the way. I think it looks like he will be able to get lap 1 without any troubles here, as he's got Zachary Lima doing a great job pushing him through this first lap here, as he does indeed cross line, gets that first lap led, and it's going to be that 27 and the 26 now leading lap number 1. So we'll see what kind of movement we have from the pack right now. It looks like everybody's staying pretty calm, pretty cautious off the bat. I do see one peeking to the top. That's that 20 of Alberto Lopez. I believe behind him, trying to catch if that is the 6 or the 07. I don't believe it is. It's always hard to catch the numbers of those guys sometimes. That is the 95 of William George up there in the top with him. So right now those two maybe trying to make the top line work. Here comes Dean Wilkinson. He looks like he's going to maybe try to join this third line as well. I mean, we saw last week that top line at Talladega. It works and works very well. Also, I see the 45, I believe, the Todd Siebels. And I believe, based on what I'm seeing on track here, I believe Todd Siebels might be that 8th playoff driver, because unfortunately one of the drivers were wondering about Dale Willoughby in the 7. I don't see him on track right now, so I don't know. That's going to be up to the powers that be, of course, but we're going to hop on with that number 45, though, of Todd Siebels as he works his way on that top group. About the 4th car in line right now, trying to work that top group. We mentioned Alberto Lopez leading that one, and he's got the 95 and then the 55 as well. And so we also noticed as he was catching that 14 car, that's Vicente Guerrero. He's got some pretty decent rear end damage, so a big bump at some point in the race for that 14 car. So I'll say we talked about fast repairs, that might have to come into play. I don't think it'll hurt that car, but he's got to make sure he's aware of that. If he leaves that fast repair on, that'll use the fast repair there to fix that rear end damage. So that's one you really want to save for later on in the race. So we'll jump up now to that leader of that top group in that number 20 of Alberto Lopez. And you can see he's worked his way up alongside of Robert Dupont. So right now, right in the top 10 window here. And you can see that momentum still carrying him through there. And I say, if you're going to look out the back of the car, all you're going to see is William George there in that 95 car. So these guys working very well together here. And just slowly but surely climbing their way towards the front here now, working on the 4th row of that 2 lines here. Working around the 8 of Duke Conrad, now trying to get to Kevin Hash and then Matt Quick. We'll see, does anybody react to this big push on the top side, but right now everybody seems pretty content to stay in the current lines that they're running here. So I'll say as he gets up against the corner there of the 8-9 of Matt Quick, then next on his list would be that 23 of Sebastian Marin, who was our outside pole sitter. So right now a big push from that third line. Actually, it's kind of separated out now. It's just those 2 cars really. You see now the 83 of Jack Walls a ways back. I believe that's probably Bud Steele behind him in the 6 machine, if I'm not mistaken. And I am mistaken. I think it's actually, that's the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. Just talking about him a little earlier. You see that rear end damage. He's opted to jump to that top side as well. So they've lost a couple drivers, but they're really holding pace right now with that 20 car, making some pretty good time up top here. But now, if you are William George, you're going to be watching your gauges here. Obviously, for us, we don't get to see exactly what those gauges are reading, but he's going to be watching very intently on that water temperature and oil temperature. Because as soon as those lights start blinking, you got to make sure you're giving yourself a little bit of breathing room. You're going to duck out just like he did there, a little bit off too. Get a little bit of fresh air on that car, cool that car down a little bit. Because I'll say every little bit is going to count a long ways. And so if you stay locked on for too long, you're just going to wind up popping that motor. So right now, he's doing a great job with just the 2 of them, but that group is getting bigger again. Here comes again the 07 now of Robert Dupont. I think wants to join his teammate there in the 95 car. And I say he's bringing along Jack Walls, and it looks like Michael Spill in the 88. He's going to hop on board here on this top side as well, as we've got just about the first, probably a lap. So we're going to have pretty much the front 5 rows here running side by side here, 3 wide at Talladega. Alright, so we'll move back towards the front here. I say right now, still Steve Krosek, Sebastian Marin right now running side by side. You can see again, Alberto Lopez not quite able to get to that front row as of yet. You saw him get a little wiggle there, I think, with that big push from that. I believe that was again the 95 car, William George. And yeah, you're exactly right. That P car doing a very good job of pushing that middle line. And say So you even got a PS there in the 45. So yeah, so right now these guys all moved around. Now you see Alberto Lopez, he has gotten to the side of the 23 car, but that inside line though of Steve Korosek, he's actually been able to pull about a car length in front with that big push that he's got from Zachary Lima behind him. So this is an opportunity for Alberto Lopez. If he can get the push he needs here, maybe he can clear that number 26 car of Zachary Lima and get himself down to the inside, to the middle line, I should say. But right now, so far, it's all holding pretty steady. So, yeah, so right now these guys all going after here. We're already on lap number 9 of 75, so going to be starting lap 10 here in just a moment. And that's going to be roughly, again, the halfway point of this fuel window. So I'll have to wait and see how that's going to pan out. Right now, I see obviously pretty mixed bag of strategies right now. I got a couple drivers. One is Dean Wilkinson. He's kind of rolling the back here, really not putting himself in any danger here early. But I think once it gets closer to pit stop time, crunch time, I think we'll see that 55 start to make a charge. So yeah, so right now we got a lot of the playoff contenders right now towards the front of the field here. So we'll kind of run through those right now. Raymond Rittenauer, of course, one of those in the 87 car with 3 wins in the season. Kevin Hash is also in that group as well in that 03 car right now behind the 89 of Matt Quick. Gabe Butler on the inside line, just a few cars behind Raymond. Also right now sitting right inside that top 10. You got Charles Johnson on the 9 car. He is running the middle groove here right outside of Eric Laurie, another one of our playoff contenders. I'll say those two are actually ones that got in on points. I'll say they've run really solid all season long. They didn't have to, they were able to get in without the win. Those are the two best on the point side of things as well. We mentioned, of course, a little bit ago, Dean Wilkinson in that 55 machine. And then I believe, like I said, I'll double check with the powers that be, but I believe Todd Siebel's in that 45 car may also be in that playoff contention, just based on some of the drivers missing races and things of that nature. So possibly that 45 also in contention. So he's going to have to I think he needs to race as if he is in the playoffs. That way he's in a good spot depending how this one all pans out tonight. But right now, though, Steve Korosek doing a really good job controlling the pace, and saying I think that's a lot to just due to the part of that number 26 of Zachary Lima. Zachary doing everything he needs to do just in order to keep that number 27 car out front. And again, this is kind of what we usually expect to see from the Bootknocker guys, but it's been these Dale Cup guys that have actually been the ones kind of controlling the pace of this race. But I don't think it's really a concern right now for Raymond and Matt Quick and Gabe Butler and all those guys, because they're in a good spot here. They're in this lead pack. Everybody's really, I think, driving pretty nicely here, minding their P's and Q's. You can see right there, I think Steve moving up a little bit to let Zachary get a little bit of air on the front of that car, cool it off a little bit. And see a close call there. It looked like the 20 car was trying to squeeze maybe Sebastian Marin just a little bit there off of 2. So to say, they gotta be careful not to side draft each other too much here, as now here comes that 20 getting that big push, a big push actually from that 95 car as they head back into 3. And that gets them side by side now with Sebastian Marin here for that 3rd or so position. And that is something that can, actually saw just a little bit, maybe just a little kiss of ball from William George. I don't think it's going to hurt him any bit, just maybe a little bit of momentum loss. But that's something also that we haven't mentioned a ton is I believe you can side draft with these cars. So that you might start seeing, especially towards it's really time to make big moves here. I think you might see drivers try to get to that left rear, right rear quarter panels of these guys to try to slow them down a little bit. But drivers gonna be a little nervous right now. I think I see the 8 car of Dude Conrad kind of skipping out a little bit every so often, just disconnects for a split second. So right now, if you're Charles Johnson right now, you see, and actually there he goes, that 8 car, he's going to jump to the top. Very, very respectful move from Dude there. So you hate when that happens because, I mean, you know he's going to be a contender in this race for the win, and of course also possibly an integral part of the championship with his teammates to help. But he saw that he was having a connection issue. I'm sure other drivers reported it as well. And so he's opted to get to that top side. He's going to roll to the back, hopefully let that connection settle back in. So say it's a tough break for Dude, but say again, just that's the kind of stuff you see from these guys, just the respect you'll see from drivers. And so I applaud him for that. That's definitely a tough thing to have to do in these races. So right now, Dude's going to kind of fall back towards the tail end of this lead pack. But the other thing we have to mention, Paul Sheldon started from the pits here in the 56 car, and he is about a half, not even a half straightaway away from getting a lap down. You can see the gap right there between the 56 and the 27. So for Paul, he's going to have to be careful here and try to make sure he gets kind of lined up at the best time. I suspect we'll see him jump to the top once the leaders get there. And say the other thing, though, is they are going to get to him right before the pit stop window as well. So that'll kind of open up another potential kind of strategy calls here to see maybe if any of these drivers opt to go for that early pit stop. Again, it should be a 3-stop race. So, of course, we've seen sometimes drivers pit around 20, 40, and 60. Gives them about that 5-lap buffer in case of a green light checker. They don't have to worry about maybe having to make a splash of fuel at the very end of the race. Actually, looks like the A to Duke Conrad actually is going to hit pit road, unfortunately. I was hoping he'd maybe just stay on the tail end of the draft and try to let the connection cycle in, but I guess he's going to possibly step out. We'll have to wait and see if he does retire from the race or not. But you see there goes the lead pack. They're going to go around that number 56 of Paul Sheldon, put him a lap down. Right now, the only car lap down, I believe. Trying to keep an eye on that 8 car, and I think he may have jumped in the pits. We'll have to, so I'll try to keep an eye. Actually, he's leaving pit road now. So yeah, so wait and see with that 8 machine. But right now we're going to start lap number 16 this next time around. Everybody's holding pretty steady up front. Right now, our highest climber, no surprises, it was kind of Mr. Top Groove there in that 20 of Alberto Lopez. But now the outside line is making a big push with now it's, I believe, Sebastian Marin going to try to take over the point here. Not quite able to do that, but I think Matt Quick is starting to kind of push the aggression a little bit. Charles Johnson right on him as well to kind of keep that momentum flowing on the top side. So we'll keep an eye and see what these guys are able to do, because right now Sebastian Marin just has a nose ahead here. You see now able to maybe just about clear out 27 cars. They enter 3. You can see it's close. He wastes no time, immediately jumps down in front of Steve Korosek. So now moves Sebastian Marin to the point in that number 23 machine. And so I believe that puts 3 of those teammates on the inside line together. So still not a bad spot for them to be here. So because now they'll be in the ideal situation, ideal spot for pit stops as well to try to come in with one another. And now I'm seeing Raymond Rittenauer maybe opening up a little bit of a gap. And yeah, you see right there, Charles Johnson wasted no time, immediately tried to fill in the hole there. And so say once opening, so I think we're seeing right now pit stops are really starting to try to jockey for position. And you see right there Raymond Rittenauer trying to get Matt Quick in as well, and that was what was kind of putting Alberto Lopez in that's what you're seeing a lot of stack up from this right now. So these guys trying to get it all in position here. You see everybody's completely lined up on the inside line here. The only car off by himself right now on the top side is Paul Sheldon again, which I say may not be a bad place to be, because based on what we're seeing here, I suspect we're going to see some drivers here making some pit stops here very shortly. No takers yet, but everybody's definitely putting themselves in position. Hey Muff, yeah. So all the P's are the playoff drivers. Let's say the naming conventions got a little bit mixed up in iRacing. So let's say we got it fixed for next week, but let's say unfortunately drivers jumping in before we were able to make the change. It's going to show like this for tonight. But yeah, next week we'll have it all kind of dialed back in. So for tonight, again, if you got any favorite drivers, let's say just try to make sure you're familiar with their car numbers, because like I said, there's going to be a lot of P's in here. Like see right now you got the 4 in 4th place, the 9 of Charles Johnson, 87 Raymond Rittenauer. So yeah, so we'll see. I say right now, again, I think pit window's just about to start opening here. We're coming to lap number 19. I'm a little surprised just with everybody jockeying as hard as they were to get to the inside. I really thought they were going to jump in sooner than they are. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so like I said, for next week, we're going to try to see if we can find a better solution for the banners and everything like that. For everybody to be able to determine who is in the playoffs and where, and also for you all to be able to see it on the ticker as well. So we'll have a little bit of playing with to do. Maybe we can make some magic happen with some of the SDK stuff that we have to play with as well. But I am noticing here some of these drivers, they said, you know what, with everybody riding here single file, now is the time. They're going to try to make a push to the front here. And again, you want to try to gain as much track position as you can before the pit window opens. And that's what we're seeing right now from that 45, the 55, the 16 car, I believe that is Michael Taylor. And actually here comes pit stop. So we just talked about that. And we've got a bunch of drivers coming in here. So we're trying to jump back and see where it all starts. It looks like it's going to actually kick off with Matt Quick. So he's going to have Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, Alberto Lopez, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Jack Walls, Robert DuPont, Joseph Morales, and William George. So a lot of drivers coming in here. So wasn't able to catch, obviously, their entry, but so far so good. You see Jack Walls, a little bit of rear end damage, possibly contact on the entry there as well. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. All right, so now the question is, are we going to see reaction from the other drivers with this? Because that's a pretty common thing here, what we've seen with Area 51 in the Superspeedway series. Once pit stops happen, you see one jump in, you see the rest jump in right away, and here they come. It looks like it's again going to be the rest of the field here, so we're going to have everybody heading in here. They're all going to space out a little bit here. Saw one getting a little squirrely on entry. I think that was Jay Hilliard. It looks like he got it under control, but it is definitely a traffic jam here. And so, yeah, so pretty much a one pit stop cycle or one lap difference between the first that are entering and the last that are entering. So now it's going to be all about your in and out laps. I'll double check, of course, as well as see if anybody maybe got trapped speeding on entry. But right now, everything's looking pretty solid here. So I saw one rolling out of the pits, I think a little bit on the late side. It looks like Steve Krosik's going to win the race of these guys that are coming out. But now we're going to have to watch for those that are coming out with that full head of steam, which I believe is being led by Matt Quick. Indeed it is. And you're going to see a lot of traffic now in front of this 89 car, so he's going to have to try to get up to speed here quickly. And of course also try to make sure that he gives enough room and just make sure that he's kind of catches on with these guys, because you always have to worry about drivers maybe merging a little bit too soon, overshooting their exits. But so far so good for Matt. He's going to make a pretty big charge here. He's up now into that 6th position with, again, it's still a big head of steam here. He's going to try to work his way quickly around Vicente Guerrero right there in the 14 car. And now that's going to leave himself with 4 cars in front of him. It's going to be Steve Krosik, Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima, and Charles Johnson. So they'll have the head of steam, but now the question is, what do they do with it? You actually see, you see the 20 of Alberto Lopez. I'm guessing either a speeding penalty on exit or possibly an unsafe exit. That's going to make him have to jump into the pits and serve another pit stop, possibly a stop and hold for him. That's a huge disappointment for Alberto. And right now, somebody had in the 56 car. Stopped on the apron here. Say that shouldn't bring out the yellow. We'll have to see if he's able to get that car back out front, or get back out, I should say. But right now, after the pit stop cycle, looking at the pit stop times, I think 2 drivers did get caught out by it. One is that 16 of Michael Taylor, who's coming out now. He had a 50-second pit stop. That includes obviously a stop and hold for him. And also the 95 here, William George, who we saw him up front earlier in this race. As here comes the leader, is going to try to swing on by him, use that momentum here to try to get back around him. He's got to try to stay in this lead pack here. He wants to be that first car one down in case of a yellow. But yeah, unfortunately, also a pit penalty for that 95. That's now trapped him a lap down as well. So right now up front, let's say, it looks like it's about a top 10 breakaway. Right now, Eric Laurie in that 10th position here. He's got the 1 and the 14 in front of him. They're trying to get around that number 95 car, William George, and be able to get themselves all in this main draft. And so you see they've got all but one of them here. But then they got the second group behind them being led by the 54 of John Gabbard. Haven't talked about John tonight yet. But he is right there in that 11th spot, and looking at lap times, he is closing out a gap. He's got a good group with him, with Dean Wilkinson. Todd Siebels is right there, and you got Jim Brooks, Dave Thatcher. So yeah, so I think these guys are going to be able to get back up in this lead pack. So I think that's going to bring the lead pack most likely up to about 15 cars or so. But I say still have to get a little closer because they're right on the edge of it. Just haven't been able to completely get that gap open. But last time by though, John Gabbard 49.45 to the leaders 50.27, so I think that about another lap or 2 he should be there. And then same thing a little further back here, you got Bud Steele with, I believe that's Nick Manfredi. These two need to draft extremely hard as well, and I have a feeling we're going to probably see some fastest laps of the race here with some of these guys kind of catching that draft and making up so much speed and time right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all times out here. And it's going to, I think, even help them even more to gain, because we've got to move up to the top. You see Charles Johnson. Charles is never one to kind of sit and ride for too long. He's going to want to get to the top. He's going to want to try to get to the front. And say he's got that one, Gabe Butler, right behind him. And we know the kind of pusher Gabe is. So we'll see if Charles is able to complete the pass here on Sebastian Marin. It looks like down the back won't quite be enough here. But also say, again, every point's going to matter. Again, this is not going to be a winner-take-all finale like we've seen last season. It's going to be the best of who's the best out of the 4 races. So Every bonus point you can get extremely critical. So of course, getting a bonus point for a pole position, that's going to be a wash tonight because it was a non-playoff driver getting the pole position. And then, of course, leading the most laps, having a clean car at the end of the race, all include bonus points. And, of course, the other being the highest climber as well. So some of these drivers that opted to start towards the back might be jockeying to try to be that highest climber position as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how all these numbers are going to pan out over the course of these final 4 races of the season. But right now, Charles Johnson trying for all he's worth here to get around that number 23 car. And, yeah, right now, Gabe Butler just not quite able to get enough of a push here. You can see Charles even squeezing a little bit on these guys, trying to see if they can kind of kill their momentum a little bit. But speaking of momentum, here comes that 54 car, John Gabbard, a big momentum shift here for him with the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. See if they're going to try to work their way to the front here. The 9 actually does clear, and he's going to drop to the inside line. And I think with that, it's going to probably shift some momentum away from that middle line, which might be even better for that 54 car because they are coming with a pretty good head of steam here. You got the 54, the 55, and the 45 all working together here on the, a little bit of contact up against the wall there for Dean Wilkinson. He's able to gather back up. That's going to really kill their momentum here, so they're going to have to try to regroup here or possibly get back in line in that middle groove. But right now, so you see it's actually now Charles Johnson leading the way, and saying Gabe Butler now, he's kind of lost his help here in that one machine as well. So I think we're going to see Gabe probably drop back a little bit, maybe sneaks in front of the 89 of Matt Quick if he gets the opening. But it looks like everybody's starting to settle back in here again after a pretty big charge there for a couple laps. And then, yeah, it looks like Nick Manfredi, Bud Steele, they're also going to get right back into the thick of this as well. So that is going to give us 17 cars on this lead pack here after that pit stop cycle. We'll jump back a little bit to see those drivers that fell off the lead pack. Unfortunately, you got the 2 drivers here of Jay Hilliard and Michael Spell. They're about 13 seconds off of the cars in front of them. And then behind them, another couple 3 seconds back, you've got the 19 of Mark Mastrella. You got the 31 of Bradley Green, Jack Walls in the 83 car. And unfortunately, also Robert DuPont here, and then Joseph Morales. Saying hopefully we'll be able to see that 60 car up front a little bit later on this race because he's got a really good looking the 60 chicken pit car there on the side of that 60. So yeah, that's a fun paint scheme. Like to see that one. So I'll say hopefully maybe some tides will turn and he'll be able to get himself back up into the mix as well. And then we'll continue back a little bit further. You've got James Hickson here in the 12. He's been able to find Alberto Lopez. Alberto is, I believe, 1 lap down at the moment after that second pit stop he had to make. And then right now the first car down is that 16 of Michael Taylor, who's right now kind of in this lead pack. So he's in a really good spot to get that lucky dog position. And while we did that, you'll see the 9 car of Charles Johnson no longer leading. It's now gotten back to the 26 for the moment. Now it looks like it might be the 27 car. So right now you've got Zachary Lima, Steve Korosik here trying to lead this this front row right now. And it's like Gabe Butler, I say he's kind of been the common denominator. The driver he's been pushing has been able to get to the front. So we know what that 1 car can do, and we'll see if he's going to try to do that some more here. But again, though, we're on lap number 30 now of 75, so still got plenty of time here. I say they're probably another 10 laps away or so from their next set of pit stops. Last time, again, they all pitted around lap 19-20. So based on that, you would suspect they'll be coming in again around 39-40, somewhere in that range. So we'll definitely be kind of keeping an eye and watching as this run continues to unfold here. So you see right now Zachary Lima had the lead. Now here comes that momentum from that top side. It's going to be Steve Korosik just a nose ahead there entering turn number 1. But now here comes that inside line again. Of course, shorter distance around. And that's what you see here at Talladega. We'll stick here out looking out the back of Steve Korosik. You're going to see where he is in relation to that 23 car of Sebastian Marin. And actually, they've done a great job of pushing because usually you'll see that outside line start to make a charge down the back. But he actually held pretty steady with those guys. So that inside line's making really good time and able to push well as well, not losing that momentum, which is kind of a typical thing we're used to seeing. So right now it's going to still be Zachary Lima leading the way here. And then one driver we haven't mentioned a lot tonight who's right now back into the thick of it, and that's that 420 of Dave Thatcher right now. He's that fourth car on the top side. As they started towards the back, he's gained 23 places thus far. Say Dean Wilkinson right on par with him as well, 20 spots gained for that 55 machine. So I'll say those guys, again, they opted to start towards the back to try to push their way forward. And again, I mean, I think that's going to be potentially a great strategy call for Dean if he can keep this car clean, keep it in one piece, and get to the end towards the front of the field. That might get him that extra bonus point for the highest positions gained during the race as well. So I'll say again, every point's going to be critical here. So we'll have to kind of see again as this race continues on how it all cycles through. But right now these guys doing a really good job, and I think they've kind of settled in a little bit here. Like I said, everybody kind of running pretty solidly here 2x2. And I say if I'm right now Nick Manfredi, I'm pretty happy of where I'm at in this number 29 car. Just kind of cruise here. You're in the draft. You've got the 6 of Bud Steele. You guys were able to work your way back to the front together. And now at this point, there's really no sense of making a big charge to the front at this point. So I think you wait till that next set of pit stops is about to happen, and then maybe that's when you start to make that third line go and try to push your way to the front. So it'll be fun to see kind of what the strategy is going to be for some of these guys. I suspect we're going to see a very similar decision again, where everybody's going to probably pit within about the same lap or so. I'd say probably a 2-3 lap window difference at the most, but from when we see the first set of drivers into the next set. But with that though too, I mean, these guys are making really good time right now. 50-20 for Zachary Lima. We're going to drop back to the second group now, being led by Jack Walls. 51-13 for Jack, so about a full second slower for these guys. As you can see, they're also running 2x2. Jack's got Jay Hilliard pushing him. You got Mark Mastrella, I believe that is, to their outside. You got, again, mentioned Michael Spells right in this mix as well. The 07 of Robert DuPont's in here. Bradley Green, Joseph Morales. So, I mean, they've been able to get a group together. But unfortunately, the pace just isn't quite there with our leaders as of yet. So hopefully they're able to get some speed built back up. But right now, I'd say they're definitely losing about a second a lap or so. I think they just got to try to figure out what organization they need to get lined up here to figure out what they need to do to find the most speed basically out of these cars. Again, looks like we're starting to see again some jockeying for position. You saw Gabe Butler. He opted, you know what, I'm going to drop to the inside line now. Because again, we're not too far away, probably another 5 laps or so until we get to pit stops. But now you see, though, as soon as that happened, though, you saw that 26 car jump to the outside. I think we're going to probably see here that 23 and the 27 clear the 26 to get back to the front. And try to control the pace of this race here, and also to be able to make sure that they don't get pinned to the outside. So it's seeing a lot of strategy and a lot of kind of teamwork here. As you see right now, not quite enough. The 23 can clear, but the 27 could not, and so you see based on that, the 27 23 I should say, stays in line. So yeah, so I think we're seeing a lot of strategy calls being made by some of these drivers here. And so I'll say what Charles Johnson, what his potential is, that he can kind of play a spoiler in this. If he can keep that 26 car, if he can keep pushing on him hard, that could prevent those two from getting to the inside line. But now you see these two have locked on pretty solidly to one another. It won't be enough to clear again, but it looks like, I think we've seen the strategy now from that top line here of Zachary Lima, Steve Krosek. I think these two are going to try to tandem their way to the front, get to that inside line for the next set of pit stops here. And you see it looks like they're easily going to be able to do so. The 14 tried to see if he could tag along, wasn't able to do so. So now he's going to have to depend on that 420 of Dave Thatcher to try to push his way back forward. So that's going to put those three back to the front again. So you're going to have Sebastian Marin, Steve Krosek, and Zachary Lima now taking the point. So now you wonder strategy-wise, what do these guys do? Do they want to maybe, again, does someone else try to pit a little early, try to short pit, get in with one another? We're trying to look to see where all the teammates are kind of lined up. Obviously, we talked about the Dale Cup guys being in those top 3 on the inside line. And then you've got the 071, the 89 all together here. I believe that's going to be the 54 John Gabbard in the middle of that group. Then you got Kevin Hash, Raymond Rittenauer right there as well. So Everybody's pretty well organized for teammates on the inside line, kind of between the Dale Cup guys and the Team Bootnarker guys. So I'll say there's definitely a lot of strategy calls that can come into play here from this lead pack of drivers here. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see kind of what the strategy is going to be. I think we're going to see a few more laps here before pit stops happen. But here, look at the top there. Here comes Dave Thatcher, and he's brought help with Dean Wilkinson, with Todd Siebels. They're going to hang that 14 car out to dry here in the middle. So you don't see this very often. I'll say it's the sucker holes, as it's commonly referred to in NASCAR. But yeah, they kind of just ditched him in the middle here, so we'll see if he's able to. I think he'll be able to at least tag onto the back of I'm trying to catch what car number that is there. I think that is the 54. Yeah, John Gabbard, I believe it's who I was looking at. But you see, it looks like they got 3 of them cleared. They're going to work their way back to the middle. And again, I think this is in response that they want to be towards the front for their pit stop cycles here. So I think this is a strategy, again, we talked about. This is the time to make those big moves here. So now it's going to be Dave Thatcher leading this middle groove. And yep, here they come. It's going to be the one of Gabe Butler. He's going to come in with Eric Laurie. You've got Matt Quick there. You've got Kevin Hash. You got Raymond Rittenauer. So you've got the 5, I should say, of the Team Bootnarker guys together here. They're all going to hit pit road here coming to lap 39. So again, that's right about on par with the field numbers we were talking about. So now for them, it's critical. They're in and out laps, hitting their pit stalls perfectly. And now it's going to be all about these guys. Do they react? Do they go a little further here? And they're also going to be kind of running into a little bit of traffic here. You see Alberto Lopez, and I believe it's the 12 of James Hickson. They're going to stay on the top side. They're going to let these guys on through. So now we'll see if the Dale Cup guys react. But I think, obviously, well, I mean, at this point, if you're the 420 Dave Thatcher, you have to wait for these guys all to make their pit stops. And yet here they come. They're going to bring a few extra with them, it looks like, as well. So we're going to have it looks like three different pit strategies here. As here they all come in. Looks like pretty clean for all these guys. Everybody's done a really good job on the entry here. So that's going to be about, I believe, about 8 to 10 cars here. Steve Krosick, Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima, Charles Johnson, John Gabbard, Vicente Guerrero, Nick Manfredi, Bud Steele, and Jim Brooks. And that's going to leave now. You've got Dave Thatcher, Dean Wilkinson, Todd Siebels. They're going to go one extra lap here. We saw them push towards the front here. We'll see if that's a good call for them. So right now they got to push as hard as they can and try to make this extra little stint here work to their advantage. So we'll keep an eye on them. And then next we'll watch to see the kind of who's got the momentum on one another, because it looks like Gabe Butler is leading the group out of the while they're full up to speed. As here comes Dave Thatcher, Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson. You see a lot of space in between these guys trying to make sure that they get woed up here, and it looks like a nice clean entry for them. So now we're going to jump to the one car, and let's watch here. Let's see what he can do. And it looks like those guys had a really good pit stop, actually, so I think they're going to get there, but they're not going to gain nearly as much as they did on the previous time. So we'll see them. They're going to get to the back of the 29 of Nick Manfredi here. They'll take the momentum to the top side once again. But look at those top 4 up front here. That's, I believe, again, Sebastian Marin, Steve Krosick, Zachary Lima, Charles Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. And they actually have to go to the third line, because now you got the 6 and the 14 going side by side here. That was not what they wanted there, to lose a little bit of momentum. So they're going to have to really start hustling here to try to close that gap back down. And we'll go through the intervals here in just a moment, because here come the other drivers that pitted there. Dave Thatcher, the first of those. And we're going to see how they get up to speed in relation as well. I think Dave's done a really good job here. He might be able to catch onto the back of this 4th car right now as they come out of turn number 2. And then here come the Dale Cup guys on the outside line with Charles Johnson in tow as well. And he's building up speed. There they go, take the lead back over. But yeah, that's a great pit stop. I think that worked out very well, though, for Dave Thatcher. Now he's just got to get Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson locked up back to him, because here comes Gabe Butler, Matt Quick and company. So right now it's about a 2-3 second difference between the lead pack here and the guys that pitted. So let's say everybody's going to have to work pretty tough here to try to get all lined back up together. But I don't think these guys up front here with Steve Krosick, Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima, Charles Johnson, I don't think they're done. I don't think they're out of the woods here, as I think that group's going to find a way to get back to them. I'll say next, of course, is going to be to watch our lap times. As last time by Steve Krosick, 50.20, Gabe Butler 49.81, so about 0.4 of a second quicker for that one machine, even while running that middle of the top groove. As here he goes on the outside here, trying to work around that 420, the 45, and the 55. So yeah, so I think we're going to see, again, we're going to see a pretty big group of cars here. Looks like I think we're going to stick with about that 16 again. in this lead pack, it looks like, when all said and done here. And we'll jump back a little further. You have Jay Hilliard right now in 17th position, leading a couple guys with him. He's got Bradley Green and Joseph Morales. So that's 17th, 18th, and 19th. Then you have to go even further back for Jack Walls and Michael Spell in 20th and 21st positions. I believe they are still on the lead lap, but it is not very far behind them to the leaders here. So you can see right there, there's the distance between Jack and Michael to our race leaders. So unfortunately, the pace of this race right now is just it's been quick, and they're making some really big time right now. So we'll jump back up front with our race leaders again. We're going to be watching our lap times, and it looks like last time by was a 49.90 for our leaders, and you can see they've actually separated it out again. Dave Thatcher was actually a little slower last time by a 50.02, so just about a tenth of a second. But I'm a little surprised to see the one car have fallen back off as far as he has. We'll watch it again, lap times this time by, and again is a 49.53 for Steve Krosek. Dave Thatcher though 49.29, so almost again just about 2 to 3 tenths of a second quicker for him. So it looks like those guys are just about to make it back into this pack here. So like I said, we had about a 4-car breakaway. You see now they've all jumped to the top, trying to pick up the tow from Jack and Michael here. But I think we're going to turn that 4-car breakaway into, again, another, it looks like about 16-car pack here, with right now the 29 and the 14 here kind of as the last two in this main pack here. So they did all they could. They had a breakaway for a little bit, but it's all going to come right back together here, which is very, very typical of Talladega. Alright, so once they get there, I'll say now this is going to be, again, the question of the day really is going to be, what do you do with the momentum? Do you try to get to the front? Do you roll back and just go back and save a little bit of fuel? And we try to take a little less fuel on your final stop, because let's say the next one's the money stop, and that's where it's all going to be. I think that's going to be the all-important pit stop, of course, to see if you can, minimize mistakes, but then, of course, try to gain any little bit of advantage you can. You see, actually, Charles Johnson's kind of dropped off the back of these guys a little bit. Again, he's going to be fine. But he was in that top 4 without any trouble, so a little surprised to see him drop off the back a little bit. As you see right there, Steve Krosek is going to jump to the top, let Sebastian Marin take over. That's probably Sebastian getting hot there in that 23 machine. And so Steve's going to drop back in line there. Zachary Lima is going to hold solidly in third. And so, yeah, so right now Charles Johnson is going to be kind of leading this inside group here. He's going to come up to, I believe that's going to be Dave Thatcher. That's going to come up to, I'm sorry, that's actually Michael Spell and Jack Walls now that are behind there. So this has kind of gotten interesting now. You got two drivers that are just a lap down here, the 88 and the 83 cars, and they could play a role in this if they can push somebody maybe towards the front here, put themselves possibly on the tail end of the lead lap again. Because right now Michael Spell's in the spot you want to be in. That first car went out, and yep, there goes Charles Johnson. He's going to immediately jump to the top when that momentum got there. Gabe Butler's going to give him a huge push down the front as they head into turn number 1. Right now they're going to go side by side here through 1 and 2 with that 9 and the 23 side by side. So yeah, so we've got another 16-car lead pack once again. But that 23 is not giving up that top spot to the 9 car. That one is pushing for all he is worth, but right now those guys on the inside line again also doing a great job here. So right now you see Charles just a nose ahead, not enough to clear yet. And saying the thing is for Gabe, he can only do this for so much longer until that car is going to start getting hot. He's going to have to cool it off. You see him already peeking to the outside a little bit, and there goes Charles, just clears that 23 car. Put Charles Johnson back to the point in that number 9 machine. Now Gabe Butler is going to try to work the outside. We'll see if he can try to keep that inside line pinned to the inside. As I think that's the next thing, is if you can stay to the outside of that 23 car, you can kind of control the outside group. But right now, say it's not quite there. So especially Marin had an opportunity to pop out. He doesn't. And now it's going to be Matt Quick pushing Gabe Butler to see maybe we can get that one car. If he can get himself a bonus point, because that's the name of the game for these guys. You got Gabe Butler, you got Kevin Hash, you got Eric Laurie, Raymond Rittenauer. These guys all want to get a lap led here. Again, that bonus point is going to be ever so crucial. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, okay. I blanked out for a minute. Lost Raymond Rittenauer there. He's right there, 5th in that line. But yeah, so right now, and of course you still got Dean Wilkinson's right there in that number 55. Oh, you see Kevin Freese had some connection issues there. He's going to jump to the top. Doesn't want to affect this race as well. He's going to fall back in line here, try to find a safe spot to still be in position to help out, and of course to be able to get a good result. But again, doesn't want to be in the middle of that pack with a connection hiccup there. So yeah, fair play to Kevin Hash in an unfortunate situation there. So right now, it's Charles Johnson leading the way. Here comes another run from the outside with Gabe Butler and Matt Quick. We'll see if they're able to get a lap led at the line. It's going to be close. And I think I'm not sure if that was between Charles and Gabe who had it there, but it was inches between them. So that would have probably been one of those finishes that's in the thousandths of the second there. So yeah, so not sure. So well, obviously once everything's all said and done with the race, we'll be able to find out there. But the other thing I'm watching, though, you see Jack Walls. He's trying to jump to the top, wants to make that third line happen. Nobody's going with him because, again, Jack's got to get around the 88 car because if and when there's a yellow, that could change the outcome of this race. And I believe I saw one driver hit the road. Looks like non-issue. Looks like we'll stay green from it. But, yeah, it looks like everything's okay. So right now we're on lap number 50 coming around. We're going to have 25 to go at the line. Again, fuel window's probably going to open in about 3 laps, but I think realistically we won't see anybody in until about 5 to go or in about 5 more laps. And while we're talking about all that, up front, Gabe Butler, he's gotten to the point. Now you got Matt Quick with Eric Laurie, Raymond Rittenauer. They're trying to charge the way to the front as well. So they've been able to try to take over take control of this front here. We saw the Dale Cup guys doing it. Now the Boot Knocker guys are going to try to do the same and kind of return the favor, if you will, here. So you see that big push now from that 89 of Matt Quick. For just a moment, he was ahead, probably not quite enough to get that lap led. But I think for Matt right here, he just wants to try to keep his teammates towards the front here, keep them in control. Again, we talked about just the selflessness of this team, so I think that's right now. I think it's going to be the goal is you want to try to get as many of your teammates at the front as possible. So right now you've got the one on the one on the inside line, then you've got the 89, the 071, the 87 all lined up on the second groove. So that's going to be the next strategy call is going to be when do you make that move to try to get into that pit stop. You see one on the apron here. Looks like we should stay green. No issues there. It's Mark Estrella. That was off track, but looks like everything is going to wind up okay for the race here. No yellows. But again, though, we're rolling very quickly up into that pit stop section of the race here. So yeah, it looks like Matt Quick's going to get a big push from Eric Laurie. We'll see if that's enough to clear the one car. Oh, you see a little bit of a bobble between them. They didn't quite get lined up there. It's going to cost them some momentum. They're going to have to regroup and try again here. Because that's the thing is you got to stay completely locked on and say that's where these guys are so good. They stay locked on. There's not a lot of side-to-side motion from them. But right now, like I mentioned, though, we still got these 16 cars here in the lead pack right now. You've got Nick Manfredi, Jim Brooks, John Gabbard. Haven't talked about them for a little while. We obviously mentioned Dave Thatcher. He's dropped back a little bit, but he's in a safe spot there. And there goes Matt Quick. He's going to get to the front here. Now we'll see if Eric Laurie, Raymond Rittenauer, that's going to be the next goal for these guys to also be able to push forward. And I'll say, unfortunately, the one driver that's kind of in the odd man out right now is that 03 of Kevin Hash. He rolled out of it with that connection hiccup, but now that's kind of put him in not a bad situation, but not where he wants to be because he should be right in that group, right up front with them. And say now he's back a couple of spots, so that's going to be the next strategy calls. He's going to have to at some point make a pit stop here in the next couple of laps. We've got 22 to go right now, so I think again that fuel window, I suspect we'll see these drivers in about the next 2 or so laps, but they're not all lined up together for the Boot Knocker team, so that's going to potentially kind of throw a little bit of a wrench into their plans as things run here. You see up front, still no changes. Everybody's staying put right now. Further back, though, again, I say just the pace these guys, these top 16 have, they're not too far. You can see they've actually caught now Jay Hilliard, Joseph Morales, Bradley Green. So I'll say they're about to put these guys a lap down the next lap or two. As again, just the pace difference between these 3 cars versus that 16 up front or so. While we're watching that, you see Eric Laurie, he's been able to push his way to the front. So now it's going to be Raymond Rittenauer, Vicente Guerrero, and Kevin Hash on the top group. But I think if Kevin Hash might get an opening here, maybe he tries to find a way to squeeze in between the 1 and the 9, the 1 and the 89, as Raymond Rittenauer. I think they're trying to see if they can find a way to get that 87 in. Haven't been able to do so, but you got to be careful. This is where stack-ups are very likely to occur. So you of course want to try to help your teammates out, but you got to make sure you don't cause too much trouble. As the guys that were about to get lapped, they actually just hit pit road now with Bradley Green and Jay Hilliard. So they're going to hit pit road there, which is going to leave that 60 kind of off on his own at the moment. So we'll watch here as they go through a little bobble from Eric Laurie. He's able to hang on to it. You see Raymond Rittenauer was able to get in. You see there's the opening that Kevin Hash is trying to get into. There he goes. He's immediately going to jump in once that opening formed. So I think based on that, we're at 20 to go, coming to 19 to go. I suspect we're going to see the boot knockers come in this time around. We'll see if they bring anybody else with them, or if anybody's going to try to go a little further, which right now I think that's what we're seeing again from Dean Wilkinson, from Todd Siebels, and probably the 14 of Vicente Guerrero as well. So we'll watch here as they come out of 4. I think we're going to see a duck into the pits. Here they come, and it's going to bring Charles Johnson along with them. So now again, they got to make sure they give each other enough room. It was close, but everybody's done a good job. Raymond maybe got in a little too hot. We'll have to wait and see on the pit stops, but so it's going to be the boot knockers and Charles Johnson all hitting pit road. And that's going to move now Dean Wilkinson to the point in that 55 car. He and the 45 are working together there. But now the 45 actually is able to clear, and he's going to get underneath them. Can Dean squeeze back in? He cannot. That gap got filled quickly by the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. So that's going to put Dean in a kind of a potentially precarious position here, depending on what his fuel mileage is right now. As you see, the 45 Todd Siebels was leading there. Now Dean Wilkinson making another charge through. And it looks like all the boot knockers, they are out of the pits already, so they no speeding penalties. I was worried about Raymond, but he's done a good job. Here come the Dale Cup guys. They're going to hit pit road. They're going to bring a few others with them. I see Jim Brooks is in there as well. And then I'm trying to see some of the others in there as well. So it looks like about 6 or so there as well. One of the drivers we mentioned, actually, John Gabber, the 54, he's now in this mix as well. So they got to try to work together here, make sure that they no mistakes here on the pit entries, make sure no contact. And yet again here, going to go a little longer. Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Dave Thatcher doing what they did last time. We'll see if they can kind of repeat the same success they had last time around. So they got some good help here, so they just got to push for all they're worth right now to make sure that they don't make any mistakes here. Alright, so that's going to bring the last free. See Michael Spell, he's going to stay out, try to go a little further. Oh, you see a little bit of a slide there from the 45. Great save. Hopefully got down to speed. Now they're going to hit pit road. And right now it looks like the quickest out of the pits is that 55 of Jim Brooks. But I'll say here comes all the momentum. You see Bud Steele's going to swing on by him. This is where it's almost too good of a pit stop for Jim Brooks. Saying I'm also a little nervous. I don't think he put nearly enough fuel in that 51 car. So I'm showing only a 4-second pit stop compared to about 8 seconds for everybody else. And yeah, here comes Jim. Actually looks like he's going to drop back down to pit road. So not sure what happened for the 51 car. Oh, a little bit of contact behind there. Oh, we got one going around. Eric Laurie, caution is out. As we were talking about all that, we've got multiple drivers caught up in this. So I think Charles Johnson in the 9 as well. Oh, missing the front clip. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening right there, which I think this is a blessing in disguise for Jim Brooks, as a caution comes out while he was on pit lane. So I think looks like he's just going to roll straight through here, stay on the lead lap. And I believe this could be a huge break for the 88 of Michael Spell, because again, we mentioned, I believe Michael had stayed out here. So I believe that cycles Michael back onto the lead lap. So now we're going to try to go back and see if we can find exactly what happened here, because there was a lot that was going on there. Let me jump back. We'll jump back to Eric Laurie here real quick. You see those? Oh, you see there, Charles looks like he got hooked possibly by Kevin Freeze just in front of them. And then Charles comes back down right. Oh, it catches actually the right rear of Gabe Butler. Catches the 071 of Eric Laurie. And then in also caught up in that one, I believe, is the 27 as well. So there are multiple cars caught up in some of Steve Krosik also a little bit as well. So yeah, but I think definitely getting the worst of that was the 9 of Charles Johnson here. We'll go back a little bit once more here to take a closer look at it here with the 9 and the 03 of Kevin Hash. And from where I'm looking at, looks like they were just not quite centered with one another. You see Kevin just off to the right a little bit possibly. And then, yeah, unfortunately, just gets into the maybe off-centered a little bit to the right, and then Charles at that point is just along for the ride. And you see that big hit for the 1. I don't know how Gabe saves that car as well. Great hands by the 1 machine. And you see Eric Laurie going for a ride here. So that's going to be our first yellow of the night here at Talladega. So you see Charles Johnson. I think Michael Spell actually helping out Charles Johnson again. Charles in the playoff position here. I say not sure if the motor pops and maybe Michael's trying to push him or what there. But it looks like he's just going to hit pit road here because also looking up front, we talked about those drivers that went long before they pitted there. Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Dave Thatcher. They're going to cycle out 1, 2, 3 here. They're good to go to the end. So, yeah, this could be a huge break for them. We'll have to watch here. Can Mike, you see Charles Johnson taking tires. This could be dangerously close to him getting trapped a lap down with this strategy call. So they may have been a mistake, honestly, to take the tires. He might have to speed a little bit. We'll see if he can get out in front of the pace car or not. He's going to probably have to speed. No, he's going to have to wait. You see the pit road's closed. You see Jack Walsh tries to drive through, but yeah, unfortunately, that's going to trap Charles a lap down, I believe. I believe Michael Spell is able to stay on the lead lap, though, in that 88 machine, as he's already gotten away. So I think the tire call for the 9 car may have been a mistake. Unfortunately, it's going to really hurt him, unfortunately, on that one. Yes, I do know the overlay doesn't have names. Let's say we made a bit of a mistake, unfortunately, on the overlays and stuff, so we got a lot of P's and PS's, and it's going to be fixed next week, though. Don't you worry. But yeah, so strategy is going to come out big on this one. I say obviously still going to have to restart here with over 10 to go, and I mean it's all going to be all to race for. But you've got Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson, Dave Thatcher. They're going to be our top 3 after going that extra lap here. That caution came out after they were already in their pits, but then everybody else had to slow down, so that works very well for them. We're going to have to try to get everything reorganized because it looks like it's a little bit chaotic right now. Who is on the lead lap, who is not. I believe right now, solidly in the lead lap, Michael Spell's the last one on there. I'm not sure about Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, as they both hit pit road right now. I believe they're currently showing as on the lead lap right now, just towards the tail end of it. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Hopefully no pit penalties or anything like that for these 2 drivers. But they should be, if they're on the lead, or if they're good to go, they should be able to stay on the lead lap. So you see they're on the lead lap, but multiple, like basically shows like a minute behind. However, I think, like it's mentioned, I think unfortunately Jack Walls, Mike, and then Charles Johnson, just unfortunately that pit strategy with Charles taking those tires, that was the difference between getting that fast repair done and getting back on the lead lap and getting trapped that lap down. Yeah, so I got the peanut gallery going on over here on YouTube here with Dale and Jamie and my brother, and so yeah, so I'd say it's never a quiet moment here in the booth, but yeah, it's gonna be busy here in just a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on these cars for just a moment, and then we will go back after this one here. I believe we're gonna restart this thing with 13 to go. All right, so kind of regroup on the running order here. So our leader is going to be Todd Siebels in the 45. Second position is going to be Dean Wilkinson in the 55. And third is going to be Dave Thatcher in the 420 machine. Those three drivers pitted right as basically right before the yellow came out. So they will be our lead lap drivers up front. And then Raymond Rittenauer will be in fourth. He was one of the first drivers to pit with Kevin Hash and Matt Quick. And they've kind of got themselves separated a little bit from some of their teammates. So they're together, but then you got Sebastian Marin, Steve Krosek, Zachary Lehman. They're right here together as well. And then Eric Laurie, so he went through that big slide trying to get himself positioned back where he needs to be in that 071 car. And then also we saw the right rear contact for Gabe Butler. He is also a little bit further back right now, still on the lead lap though. But looks like they did come in and pit under that caution. I'm not sure if fast repair or not on them. Do notice the long pit stop for Vicente Guerrero in the 14 car, I think opting to try to get damage repaired manually, save that fast repair potentially. But yeah, so we're going to restart this thing here. Going to be 13 to go at the line. And then again, a big thing here. This is the first restart we've had in a long time. So the leaders have control over this. So that 45 car, basically once that pace car is off the racing surface, he can go as early or as late as he wants until the flag flies. And then once that flag flies, then you pretty much have to go unless you want to get run over. So we'll see if there's any strategy here between Todd, Dean, and Dave to try to get themselves lined up 1, 2, 3 here. Because this is definitely where you can really see a lot of strategy calls, maybe separate the field out a little bit here. So as they come through the tri-oval, it looks like they're going to wait a little longer here. So I think it looks like they're going to wait till that green flag flies, and now it's out and they are down and away. So it looks like they're just going to try to restart this thing and see how it all pans out, as it's going to be Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson side by side here, getting back up to speed. Now again, you see on the outside line, you've got the 87 to 89 locked on with Dean, and then you've got those Dale Cup guys. So you've got Sebastian Marin, Steve Krosek, Zachary Lehman. They're all locked on with themselves on the outside line. So now it's all about the momentum shift, and you see right away there, here comes the third line. Raymond Rittenauer wants to get to that top side. He does not want to let those guys get to his outside there. So it's going to be Raymond trying to make that third line happen here with 55 on the inside and the 45 Todd Siebels on the inside line. So I'll say this could be another repeat of last week. We'll see. Could see a repeat here of multiple 3-wide laps from our front runners here. Say Raymond right now are going to see if maybe he can clear that 55 of Dean Wilkinson at the line. Raymond just has a nose ahead, but you see Matt Quick giving the 55 a great push down the front stretch here. But you see Dean though, who's opting to stay towards the middle, doesn't want to drop to the inside line yet. I think that's the right call, because right now the 89, the 50, and the 55, they're working well together here, and you don't want to lose that pusher. As now here comes Todd Siebel starting to get a big push from Dave Thatcher. It's going to bring Gabe Butler back into the mix as well. As here comes that inside line. I think that's exactly what we're seeing here, is Raymond Rittenauer wants to make sure he can try to control that outside line. But you see he gets a little squirrely with that big push there from, I believe that was Steve. Actually, I think it's Sebastian Marin right behind him in that Lowe's car. So here we go up front. We're 3x3 once again. We're going to go try to go 4 wide. You see he tried to peek underneath the 87 Raymond Rittenauer. Raymond immediately tried to cover that spot. And you got to be careful of that tri-oval. It widens up just a little bit. And that's where they can get you. We got contact. We got a lot of cars around. Oh, Raymond Rittenauer going for a wild ride. The 23 as well. We got multiple cars involved. Multiple playoff drivers involved as well. We'll have to go back and try to take a look at how that all happened. But it looked like maybe a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of net code possibly between Raymond Rittenauer and Matt Quick, if I'm not mistaken. But we've got a lot of drivers caught up in that one here. So that's going to bring out our second yellow of the night. Steve Krosek involved. We obviously saw Raymond Rittenauer taking the shot as well. It looks like, Eric Laurie caught up in it as well. Jack Walls. Looks like Charles Johnson got through it, so that might get him possibly back in the lead lap. And we'll have to keep an eye on that one as well. And we'll see, Zachary Lima, a ton of damage to his car as well. Whole front clip is missing. We see Jim Brooks, a lot of damage to that 51 machine as well. So yeah, so let's go back and try to take a look. We see Dean Wilkinson, he's got the rear clip missing on his car. You see the 23 as well. So yeah, a lot of drivers caught up in this one. Let's go back and let's try to get a better look at how this all came about. Alright, so I'm not going to take an hour and try to find it like I did last time. We're just going to go back a little bit. And yeah, you can see right there from the helicopter camera, just a little bit of a contact between the 89 and the 87 on the entry here. So we'll watch again here. You watch Matt Quick in the 89 right behind Dean Wilkinson. You see Raymond Renauer trying to kind of stay a little bit tight. But then unfortunately Matt Quick washes up a little bit because he's kind of going in blind behind the 55. And then unfortunately that right front to left rear contact. And you see Dean Wilkinson, he takes a heavy shot as well. And then from behind, I mean, it's just at that point, just everybody's going up and over here. I think Raymond by far taking some of the biggest shots there. I mean, you see the 23, these guys getting way up into the air there. The 54 also caught up in that one. Michael Spell also getting in that one as well. It looks like Bud Steele a little bit of contact as well. So yeah, a lot of damage to a lot of cars here, unfortunately. So we're going to see a lot of drivers in the pits either opting to take fast repairs, opting to possibly have to try to get that damage repaired manually. The first of those in pit road is going to be Vicente Guerrero in the 18 car. Maybe trying to get some previous damage remainder fixed as him, but he's also got John Gabbard's in there, Michael Spell, Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima's in there, Steve Krosek, Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, Dean Wilkinson, Raymond Rittenauer, Eric Laurie, all hitting the pits. So yeah, so at this point, it's pretty much here. These are the drivers that are not pitting right now. And Judy mentioned, yeah, there goes Charles Johnson. He is going back onto the lead lap here. So you've got just a few drivers here making it through. Notably, like I said, on the playoff side of things, Todd Siebels, I believe, might be also in the playoffs. But yeah, it's a good call there. Kevin Hash able to make it through. And then Gabe Butler. So I think right now, of our playoff contenders, basically two, I think, got through that. And the other thing is all these incidents. We talked about having a clean car at the end of the race, having no incident points, getting some bonus points for no incident points. There aren't going to be very many of those either. So, yeah, it's going to be all to play for here. Looking at some of the pit stop times for those that just pitted under this caution flag on lap 66, I see a lot of very quick pit stops. So I think we're seeing a lot of fast repairs there. Mentioned Vicente, he had a 28-second pit stop. Raymond Rittenauer is having a very long pit stop. He's going to try to get this thing, I believe, possibly repaired manually. Maybe had to take a tow, not 100% sure, out of the 87 car. Now he's down and away. But for as much as that car flew, I really don't see how he couldn't have used a fast repair there. The car looks pretty clean, so I'm going to say that's a fast repair out of that 87 machine as well. But just a long pit stop for Raymond there. Alright, so we're going to get the one to go here at 8 to go. That'll be a restart with 7 to go on this one. And yeah, I mean, it's still all to play for. The other thing, of course, too, is some of the drivers that maybe have a fast repair still in their back pocket. You never want to have to need it, but it's always good to have. So we'll have to be watching some of these drivers up front as well. But up front, though, it's going to be Todd Siebels, Dave Thatcher. Second row going to be Matt Quick and Gabe Butler. Third row, Kevin Hash and Nick Manfredi. And then from there on back, Bud Steele on back, all of those drivers had to make a pit stop there, either for a fast repair, or maybe just opting to maybe to get a splash of fuel, something like that. You never know. So, yeah, pretty wild here. And so the battle for the lucky dog right now, you see Jay Hilliard in the 59, and then the 31 of Bradley Green, Jack Walls, and then the 60 of Joseph Morales, and then the 12 of James Hickson. Those drivers are all one lap down here, so that's going to be the other battle, of course, as well. And again, we talked about the highest climber right now, Todd Siebels. He's plus 27 positions. Dave Thatcher plus 28 positions. I mean, these guys are by far, obviously, the highest climbers. However, they got to get through 7, if not more, laps at Talladega to try to lock that position up. And, of course, try to get a win or a top 3 as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see. And the other thing to mention on this is, again, like we said last time, is second yellow here. Todd Siebels, he has control of this restart. Last time by, we saw him go on green, so we'll have to see this time around. Do he and Dave Thatcher, they try to work something out like, hey, let's go just a little bit before the green, that way we can get locked back onto one another. There's a lot of strategies that they can play here. So yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But at the same time, do you really want to get away from some of the pushers you got behind him? I mean, if I'm Todd Siebels, I see Matt Quick behind me. If I'm Dave Thatcher, I see Gabe Butler behind me. Oh, you see a little bit of squirrely around the back there, possibly a little bit of contact there, kind of checking up there. So they got to get regrouped here. I think everybody getting a little bit antsy for this late restart here with 7 to go. But yeah, I would love to have one of those boot knocker guys behind me pushing, or the Dale Cup guys. I mean, we've seen the speed that these guys have. Then you have to worry about not getting snookered at the end as the green flag comes back out. And we are back underway here at Talladega. Looks like a little bit of a slower restart, really. But so far, so good as they build speed back up. And right now you see a lot of drivers kind of, again, moving around, trying to find where they want to position their cars as they build speed up here, coming through 1 and 2, coming back down the backstretch here again. Alright, now that the momentum's starting to build back up, it looks like Todd Siebels in a pretty good position right now over Dave Thatcher, but here comes that third line. It's going to be Bud Steele leading the way. He's got Jim Brooks with him. You see they kind of duck back into the middle, but I think they're going to play a little bit of defense because otherwise those Dale Cup guys are going to immediately pounce, and there they go. 23 car jumps to the outside. Now you got the 1 and the 6. They move to the top. Bud's going to try to lead that outside line. Now they're going to possibly go 4 wide here through the tri-oval. They're able to regroup, but that was a very close call right now. So now you've got Matt Quick at the point in the 89 car being pushed now by Dave Thatcher. You got Gabe Butler to the outside with Bud Steele behind him. And then you got Todd Siebels with the number 03 of Kevin Hash behind them. So they're back 3 by 3 here as they go down the back again. And right now, it's at this point, it's anybody's guess. And we'll see if we can even make it to the white here. Again, that's going to be the next thing to talk about is that green-white checkered potentials. If there's a caution before we get the white flag, they'll rack them up. They'll do it up to 3 times. If we get to the white flag and there's the yellow, from that point on, you race it out to the end. And man, the way it's looking right now, I'm not sure if we're going to get there. These guys are going after right now. You see Bud Steele just pushing the one for all he's worth here. And again, we talked about that tri-oval. That's where things get really dicey. You get a little bit more opening. You kind of want to find that 4th line if you can. And you can see they have room for 4, but it gets very, very narrow very quick. It's almost the equivalent of 3 wide at Daytona. So right now these guys doing a really solid job here, holding on 3 by 3 here for looks like about 4 or 5 rows deep right now. You got Matt Quick now just a nose ahead here, and he's going to jump to the inside of Todd Siebels. And that's going to allow Dave Thatcher now to lead that middle groove. A little bit of contact between the 45 and the 420, but they hang on to it. So that's going to now have Jim Brooks as the pusher for the 420 car. And now look at Todd Siebels. He saw the opportunity. He jumped straight to the top, saw the momentum going. So that's going to put Matt Quick and Kevin Hash together. So those guys are a very potent combo as well, though. So right now we're going to cross the line here. 4 to go at Talladega. Nose ahead was the 45 of Todd Siebels. But what can Matt Quick do? What can the outside line of Gabe Butler do? It's all to play for here, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen here. But if something happens, it's going to be huge because we've got a lot of cars in a very, very small amount of space. You see that outside line of Gabe Butler isn't quite able to get the pushes that he needs from the 6. I think the 6 probably getting too hot, can't jump to the top, and that's going to be I'm going to be watching now if anybody can clear the 1 car possibly. Do we see like someone like a Jim Brooks as he jump to the top and try to make that 3rd line happen? Maybe get the push from Gabe, because obviously Gabe right now leading the front this 3rd line. He's got plenty of clean air, so that car is nice and cool. But we'll have to wait and see as I say that he gets a huge push from the 6 of Bud Steele. He's now side by side with the leaders. You see the inside lights actually lost a little bit of momentum here, so that's going to make Matt Quick. Oh, they squeeze each other. Bud Steele's up against the wall. Oh, we got more cars up and around. Oh, we're wrecking here. We got Bud Steele around. I think that was the 27 that may have got caught up in that as well. Steve Karosek. It wasn't as big as it could have been here. We'll have to wait and see who all's caught up in. So it looks like Jay Hilliard's also in this one. Oh, you see Jack Walls, heavy damage to that 83 machine. So yeah, so unfortunately another yellow here. But yeah, a lot of drivers caught up in this one as well. And it looked like it was that 3 wide that kind of where it really all kicked off here. So we'll go back. We'll try to get a better look at that one here. So this is going to put us into that green-white checker territory that we just had talked about. So let's go back first and let's take a look here. We're a little too far ahead. So let's back it up a little bit. Alright, so we're going to watch out the back of the one of Gabe Butler. We're going to slow things down a little bit here. And so we're going to see Butler already kind of turning in a little early. So he's kind of completely blind because, of course, you got the one right in front of him. You can see they're definitely squeezing one another here. Just trying to keep the momentum as much as you can. You can see, I think, a little bit of contact that pushes the 6 up into the outside wall. And then from there, so he tries to hang on to it, but say that point he kind of just bounces across the wall. You see the 23 gets caught up in that one as well. Looks like Jim Brooks looks like he's going to just get away from it. And we'll say we'll stop it here, try to change the camera angle here because it's actually the 27, Steve Karosek. He's the one that's kind of doing a mid-track wheelie, if you will. We'll pick it back up here. You see the 26 is in there. Yeah, there's the 6 going around. I see the 55 with a little bit of contact. We'll have to check on him as well. But you see further up. Oh, actually, no, further up. There was more that happened afterwards. You see, actually, Jim Brooks. He gets a good piece of it as well. And then comes right up into the path. You see Dean Wilkinson. He does take a bit of a shot as well. Gets a little bit of contact. So it looks like about 5-6 cars looks like get through unscathed. So a lot of drivers caught up in that actually. So we're gonna go back one more time. We'll see what, because it looked like when we were watching, it looked like Jim was good to go. Oh, but there was more contact behind him. You see the 29 and the 55 also a little bit. So yeah, so a lot of drivers caught up in this one as well. So we'll go full speed just to see how quick all of that was happening. And I think also some net coders, they see a couple cars disappearing and some contact that probably wasn't actually contact. And yeah, unfortunately, a lot of cars caught back up in this one as well. So we'll jump back live here. Because obviously a lot of drivers making pit stops here. You've got Steve Karosek and Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima, Eric Laurie, Charles Johnson, Bud Steele. And the modified of Jim Brooks, he stays out on track. I think he knows probably if he pits, that's probably it for him. So I think he's thinking, all right, let's just try to limp this thing along. However, up front, though, you got Todd Siebels. He's right now showing as our race leader. He's going to have Matt Quick restarting next to him. And then behind him will be Gabe Butler. And then Dave Thatcher will be behind the 89 car. And then you're going to have Kevin Hash and Jim Brooks in row 3. And if you're behind, I say right now, if you're anybody behind this number 51 car, you're not feeling too good about being behind a car that's missing the whole front hood of that car. So you also see the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. He stayed out as well. So yeah, so a lot going on here. A lot of drivers in pit road getting service still done to their car. Just trying to, again, they use the fast repair, so at this point they just got to try to get as much as they can repaired. We'll kind of run through the drivers in there. So we mentioned Steve Karosek's there, Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima, Eric Laurie's in pit road as well. Charles Johnson's in pit road, Bud Steele's in pit road. Jack Walls, unfortunately, as well. James Hickson, and also the 16 of Mark Mastrella as well. So, or sorry, Michael Taylor, I should say, apologies, as well in pit road. So, and you look on the ticker on the left side, you can see kind of where drivers are if they're a lap or more down. Again, if your driver's last name is P or PS, hopefully you know their car numbers, but if not, we'll go through them as well. So right now the PS 45 is the 45 of Todd Siebels, and then you've got the 03 of Kevin Hash in 5th, the 55 of Dean Wilkinson in 8th, the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer in 10th, and then I believe that was Eric Laurie and Charles Johnson that were together there in 14th and 15th positions. Everybody's leaving the pits to avoid going trapped a lap down. And again, we are in that green-white checker territory, so this is kind of overtime. So we were talking about if it happens, so we are in it now. And so the way it works, if there is a caution before they catch the white flag, they'll rack it up and do it up to 2 more times. However, if they get to that white flag and there's an incident, they just race it out at that point. That's going to be, the white flag is basically kind of the, all right, go for it. So we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to pan out. Going to be probably a little bit crazy. And I think we see right there the 51, I believe, possibly opting to take an EOL here. I'm not sure with the damage. He's right now just running the apron, so we'll have to kind of keep an eye on him as well. Right now it looks like he's going to actually stay put, but yeah, I think if you're Jim Brooks here, you probably just want to pretty much restart on the apron here if you do hold your track position. And then maybe if there's a big wreck, you can put yourself in a good spot and at least gain some spots here at the end of it. Definitely a lot of drivers, though, taking some risks on staying out, opting not to get some damages potentially repaired. Dean Wilkinson was one of those. We saw him catch the outside wall. He's opted to stay out as well. So yeah, so a lot of drivers, I mean, you can see it's kind of like the way a lot of these cars looked after the race that was today at the Indy Road Course. I won't give spoilers about it, but it was interesting. So yeah, maybe go check out the highlights of that one. But now again, teammates split up here. So you see road number 1, you got the 89 to the outside. His teammates on the inside of the 1 car. The 1 does have the 03 behind him. So yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do here, if they can maybe work together. Again, this is one of those things where maybe splitting the teammates up is your best chance at a good result. So I think if you're Todd Siebels, you need to try to keep Gabe Butler right behind you. And so I think to do that here, you don't go early. You go on green. You get that 1 car right on your bumper, pushing you all the way around here. You see everybody's trying to get themselves back in position. You see Jim Brooks, I think, opted to take that end the longest line here. I think that's the right call there. Don't want to affect the outcome of this race with drivers that are damaged and undamaged. So we'll watch and see here as the 45 Todd Siebels is going to lead him here to go. It's going to be a green-white checkered finish. Possibly the first attempt. We'll see if we need all 3 or not as they come through the tri-oval, waiting for that green flag to fly. And it is down and away. We are back to green. Green-white checkered attempt number 1 here at Talladega. Gabe Butler right on the back of that 45 Todd Siebels. See Raymond Rittenauer. He's found an opening. He jumps straight to the inside line as well. We'll see what these guys are able to do on these final couple of laps here. But right now they're looking pretty good on the inside line. But the risk now, if you're the 45 car, you don't want to get too far out in front because that's going to allow these guys to jump to the top. And that's going to leave that 45 as a sitting duck. And there he goes. Gabe Butler, he's going to jump to the top. That's going to leave the 03 of Kevin Hash behind him, but it's just the 2 of them. And you've got the 1, the 89, and then the 420, the 87. They've got a big group. Oh, you see the 89 had to jump up. A little bit of contact between them. Move to make sure no wreck there. And so we'll see kind of where the momentum is. That's actually allowed the 45 Todd Siebels. He's been able to get a push back towards the front here. He's got Kevin Hash right behind him, and now you've got the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. He's been around all race long. Now he's in the mix of this one as well. We are going to get the white flag, so this is the final lap of the race. Gabe Butler getting a big push from Matt Quick, entering turn number 1 for the final time. But will it be enough? Because right now he's kind of off on his own here with Kevin Hash behind the 45 car. And now Raymond Rittenauer is starting to make the push. Oh, we got contact in the back. You see the 14, the 420, they go around. A lot of cars caught up in that one. We're going to stay with our leaders. You see the 14, the 26, the 420. But up front, though, it's still side by side at the front here. And right now, say Kevin Hash is, oh, you see that he drops out there. He's going to pick up his teammates here. You get them trying to take the top 4, it looks like. So it's going to be now coming to the line here. Say, unfortunately for Todd Siebels, kind of just stuck between a rock and a hard place when you got teammates surrounding him. And it looks like Gabe Butler is going to get the push he needs to get the win here tonight. Matt Quick going to grab 2nd position. Kevin Hash 3rd. And I think Raymond Rittenauer is going to grab 4th. I say, unfortunately, Todd Siebels was in a great spot there coming to the line. But as they didn't have the help he needed, he's going to finish in that 5th position. So I'll try to take a quick look again at that incident with Dave Thatcher and Vicente Guerrero here as they were coming out of the backstretch here. So I think we probably saw a 3-wide attempt. You see there the 14 going to the top. Actually, it looks like he comes back down and actually catches the 420. So I think actually more just drivers kind of just a mistake, I think, honestly, from where I'm standing. So obviously I don't see all of it. And then unfortunately, the 26 car, nothing he could do. He takes a brutal shot there from that as well. And then I believe a couple other drivers may have got caught up in this one as well as they were kind of coming around down the backstretch here. So you see the 1426, they find a way to get back again together here. And I think other drivers got caught up in this one as the drivers are probably trying to scramble to get back up to speed here. So we'll kind of keep an eye on them. And yeah, there's some more contact, and a lot more contact. So some drivers' nights went from bad to worse there. Say Eric Laurie, Jim Brooks getting caught up in another one. But it's going to be that one car of Gabe Butler getting the win here tonight, as he's going to celebrate here on the front stretch. Looks like with his helper there in the 89 of Matt Quick. And I see there's one driver there turtled on the after the finish line. I don't think that went to plan for him either. All right, so while we watch celebrations, we'll run through our final results for tonight. It's going to be the one of Gabe Butler getting the win tonight by about half a tenth over Matt Quick. Kevin Hash in third. Then you got Raymond Rittenauer in fourth. Todd Siebel's fifth. And 6th through 10th, you've got Nick Monfretti, Michael Spell, John Gabbard, Sebastian Marin, Dean Wilkinson still brings home a top 10, so a great job by him. Steve Krosek somehow finishes in 11th with all of his damage. And then you got Dave Thatcher in 12th. Jim Brooks even getting caught up in that wreck at the end of the last lap. He still finishes in 13th. Eric Laurie, we saw also in that wreck, finishes in 14th. And many drivers a lap or more down here tonight. You've got Vicente Guerrero, Zachary Lima, Charles Johnson, Jay Hilliard there. And we'll continue down the running order here as well. Bradley Green, 19th. Joseph Morales, 20th. Then you got Jack Walls, Bud Steele, James Hickson, Mark Mastraya, Michael Taylor, William George, Alberto Lopez, Robert DuPont, Paul Sheldon, and Dude Conrad had to retire early due to connectivity issues. And unfortunately, though, for Jason Middleton and then Dale Willoughby did not grid here this evening. So those are going to be our final finishers for tonight. Which now leads us to some drivers we got to have some chats with. We're going to be kicking things off with Kevin Hash. And so we talked about some of the teamwork that these guys have, and we definitely saw it there tonight. I think there's going to be some drivers that aren't happy about that teamwork, but again, that's just kind of the nature of the beast of these races here. So let's go ahead and hunt down that 03 of Kevin Hash. All right, there he is. We're going to bring our third place finisher in with Mr. Hash Brown. Got through that big one there, put you in a position to be able to capitalize there. But man, that was definitely a little bit of everything tonight to have to deal with, but able to bring it home in third. Obviously a great way to start off the playoffs, but just take us through the race, because I'll say that was definitely a little bit of everything throughout it, and then obviously got very wild there at the end.
Out trying to come up with different strategies and ways to try to get to the front, but first thing I gotta do is I gotta apologize to Charles Johnson. I already talked to him, but won't make sure it's known. I wasn't trying to wreck him in any way, shape, or form. I really hated that the most, that I caused him to have as bad of a finish as he got. But yeah, all in all, it really wasn't a bad race. A couple more wrecks than we're used to, but was able to somehow get through them, luckily. I even had the power go out at my house with, about 30 to go whenever I blinked out and had to go to the high side. Luckily, my uninterruptible power supply saved my butt there. But yeah, it'd been pretty intense all night.
Yeah, and that's actually, I say, we noticed that one point where you had that connection hiccup. We saw you drop to the back, and that's actually a really good point to make. Is there's things that you have to deal with, obviously, that we've all dealt with as well, where Mother Nature and just all these things that always can throw an extra wrench into everything. So you being able to, like I said, have that battery backup to keep your internet connection a little happier, keep your computer especially running, to be able to be in that position. Because we've seen many times where drivers that they have a little power surge or a slight outage. That's it. That's their night over. So I'll say it's always nice to invest in some equipment that kind of keeps your playoff hopes alive here too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I had a race win I really, really wanted, fought really hard for, taken away a couple years ago, and as the power went out, the race hadn't even finished yet. As the power went out, I was purchasing this thing in the dark on my iPhone. I was like, nope, we ain't doing this again. I was like, we're gonna have a contingency plan. But yeah, I'm definitely glad that's the first time it's ever been really put to use, and I'm glad to know it worked well enough to keep me alive and keep my playoff chances alive there.
Yeah, so maybe look at some associate sponsorship for some future races. You can hit them up and see if they'll work with you a little bit on that one. But just a great job. Yeah, we did unfortunately saw the contact of you and Charles, like you mentioned. And like I said, it looked like when you're trying to push, you're trying to help somebody out, so you get just that little bit out of line, and it all goes so wrong so fast. And And so, I mean, we talk about with you and Gabe and Matt and Raymond. I mean, you guys race with each other week in and week out. So, I mean, when you've got somebody that you know and you race well with, but at the same time, as you guys kind of aren't on the maybe on the same wavelength at times as maybe you guys are, like with you and Charles. Do you feel like that maybe been kind of accounted for part of it?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like just the way how much momentum and everything we had right there, especially in trying to get everything we could to have any advantage we could get there, because everybody was so close that I just felt like I had to stay as glued to them as I could to help them keep all of that momentum up. And unfortunately, whenever we finally got clear of the bottom line, I kind of went low, kind of expecting us to go low, and they kind of stayed middle. So I was kind of already going low, and I thought I was square enough up to where I could push him, and instead I kind of drug the back bumper across where I thought I had caught it. I had not, and in fact just murdered poor Charles. And I mean, that's all 100% on me. But yeah, it luckily it worked out. I had great teammates up there to work with toward the end, and I'm glad we all managed to get it done.
Yeah, it was a great job getting the result obviously for you guys, and let's say get that first one kind of out of the way and be able to now focus on those final 3 races. So before we let you go though, Kevin, definitely want to give you an opportunity. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that 3rd place tonight?
Well, the first one would have to go to that power supply that saved my bacon there, but yeah, the just everybody I get to work with, Gabe, Ray, Matt, Eric, just all of us just are able to work so well together to where we can kind of always find each other toward the end as long as we ain't got tore up beforehand. And just Charles and all the guys for putting the league on, you guys for the broadcast. And again, I got to give a shout out to Larry. I'm up to 37 notifications with him messaging me during the interview. Luckily, I'm starting to flip the phone over now so I don't see him. So.
Yeah, so he didn't chime in here asking about orange juice versus chocolate milk, so I think you're off the hook on that one. So enjoy this one, and then we'll be back to focus on the next 3 races to see who's able to get that championship. So yeah, good way to kick things off, Kevin. Look forward to seeing you on the remaining ones.
10-4, sir.
All right, we got to switch over now to our 2nd place finisher. That's going to be the number 89 of Matt Quick in that Grumpy Cat machine. So we're going to pull Matt on in here with that 2nd place result. So there's a little bit of everything tonight, but so you, for the most part, I think you kind of kept that car, I think, out of trouble for the most part of it. So I honestly, I can't keep track, so it got pretty wild there throughout the race. But I mean, just take us through it, and what was kind of the game plan for you guys? Because we saw, obviously, trying to go, not off sequence, but try to make sure you kind of pitted on your own with one another to separate yourself from the field. I mean, how did that part work out? And then take us through the final laps there, trying to obviously work with Gabe and your teammates there to try to get the best results for all 3 of you.
Well, my normal thing is to try to save fuel all the time, but I got stuck in the outside line that first run, so I was just kind of sitting there and then realized I was going to save much more of anything. And Gabe, we just like taking 8.5 gallons of fuel all the time, so that's what they do. Whenever we can do it, we can just do it, and then the whole field follows us the next lap or whatever. So it's kind of whatever there, and we kept popping behind the leaders, and I don't know, we had to push pretty hard a couple times. I think the first 2 stops probably, and then the 3rd stop, well, during that 2nd sequence or so, we grabbed the lead from the outside or whatever, and we were able to kind of control things just a little bit, but we weren't really trying to control. We were just trying to get up front and not get shuffled to the back. And then we pitted, and then it's 4 of us and Charles, and then we were flying through the damn field, and I thought we were going to get the lead, and then I don't know if Charles checked up or Hash was just up his butt a little too much, and they got spun out. They were coming out of 4 or so, and that got Sybils and a couple others with the perfect pitch strategy of being up front there. And then from there, we were just trying to figure out how to get up front there. So I was just pushing that 420 car and just trying to get ahead of Sybils a bunch of times. We were trying to figure out how to get clear, and just never really got cleared. And on that restart or whatever, and on the last restart there, started 2nd, and I was hoping I was going to clear Sybils, and the car behind me did not go. So Gabe got in front of me, and that's all she wrote, and he just kind of fall in line after that. And I didn't see what happened behind me, but apparently some type of death and destruction happened, and before you know it, Hash moved in behind me, and the 4 of us kind of took off to the finish there. And I thought about dipping under, but I almost spun Gabe out earlier, so I just fell in line. So finally finished in the top 3. It's my first one this year. I finished fourth a few times, but I also had bad luck everywhere else, so it's all good. It's a decent run.
Yeah, so yeah, the bad luck's definitely been hounding you. It feels like the last handful of races with this season, but so obviously nice to at least get like I said, get the second place, get the podium monkey off your back. And then obviously I'm sure is there any balance that you have to do, like knowing that you've got Gabe and Kevin and Raymond and those guys right with you on track, kind of going for the championship as well? Does that change anything that you do, or is it the same thing? Kind of see where you guys are in relation to one another to decide. Okay, if I'm leading, I figure they're going to push me, or do you at that point you think that they might want you to let them swing on by to maybe gain a couple extra points for that championship?
I mean, there's not really a pecking order. It's just kind of how everything flows. I mean, obviously, like as much as I wanted I could have dipped under him, going for the win there, coming out of 4. We were all kind of clear there, but on that restart or so, or when he got in front of me, at one point I thought he was jumping down to the bottom line, and he didn't, and I about spun him out there. So I took that as some good races. So I don't want to stretch my luck, So I just kind of fell in line there. But usually there's not a pecking order. It's if you got the run, you take the run. But if you're gonna mess something up, we better finish 1, 2, 3, or however we were, because if we screw it up, then that looks bad on us. So we just kind of roll it. If coming out pit road, however you come out pit road is how you come out. And obviously, the quicker you get in the line, faster you're going to go. And just like anything else, if you're in the line or you get a run on the outside line, and let's roll with it, let's go. So if you overcomplicate the stuff, you screw it up. So keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think sometimes the simpler it is, the better it works out. So I mean, it's obviously been working for you guys all season long and in previous seasons as well. So awesome job here tonight, Matt. Definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts I'd like to give for that second place run tonight?
Oh, obviously thank Ray, Kevin, Gabe, and Eric. We had a decent run. A couple accidents there. I don't know if I was one that spun Ray when he was on the third line there. I felt like he tipped down a little bit, but it was my fault. It is what it is. Sorry. Wasn't trying to take up the whole damn field, but I don't know. I freaked out. I saw him slide down, and I saw the car in front of me. I think it was Dean. He was hugging the first lane pretty hard, and I thought they were going to shoot up. So I kind of backed off a little bit, and I put my left tires around that white dotted line and killed Ray. I don't know. Oh well. But I want to thank everybody. Thank you for everybody putting us on with the league. Thank you for putting up for watching our single file on this, and hopefully you made a good show of it.
Now, definitely a lot of non-single file tonight. So you guys did an awesome job, and honestly, it was that ends. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in that little tiny amount of time. So yeah, so I'm sure you guys will square it out. But I mean, to be able to recover like you did, for Raymond to still get fourth and you get up to second. So I think all in all worked out pretty well. So, but good job though, Matt. I'll say hopefully that monkey will be shaken off and you'll be able to get some solid results here in these final 3.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, that leaves us with our race winner in that number 1 machine. I'll say it was not an easy one tonight, but when it was all said and done, Gabe, you found a way to get back to the front to get the win. But yeah, I mean, you had to dodge some wrecks, be in front of a couple wrecks, and yeah, I say it got dicey there at times. But I say when it was all said and done, you were able to get to the front, had some obviously some friendly faces there in your mirror there.
Yeah, definitely got lucky there at the end. Surrounded by teammates, and Matt did a fantastic job of pushing me to the win there. But yeah, crazy race, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everything's ramped up a little bit these last few races. Like, obviously, you got some new competition, some new names, new faces that I think have kind of forced everybody to really step up the game, step up their aggression a little bit too. It feels like. Is that something that you noticed as well, or for you guys, do you still kind of just do kind of the status quo, like, okay, this is what our game plan has been, this is what we're going to stick with, or have you guys noticed you've had to adjust your own driving as well to kind of keep yourself in a good spot?
Honestly, a little bit of both. Try and stay to our strategy, but be a little bit more aggressive at the same time. Yeah, the new guys definitely brought some different competition to it, and you kind of really have to force the issue here and there. Not the whole race. You just kind of got to choose your battles, but and again, we just try and stick with our strategy, pit when we need to pit, and we had good pits tonight, but those guys had really good pits too. But in the end, it worked out. A good job by the teammates. They're top 4, I believe. Kind of felt bad for Todd. I knew he was probably felt like he was going to be a sitting duck up there when we were all around him, but nature the beast.
Yeah, and I think that's when I commented on it too. I was like, yeah, say Todd probably feels like kind of between a rock and a hard place there. So you look in your mirror and you see all the boot knockers, like, this is probably not going to end well. I mean, still was able to get up to 5th position there, so you get that top 5, but yeah, so obviously was in a great position as well. But I mean, that's something you talk about, the teammates that you have, that you work with, and I mean, that's the style of racing. Is, I mean, you've got to have the friends and the teammates to be able to make these things happen. And when you've got so many of you guys in the front like you do week in, week out, it obviously puts your guys in a really good position to challenge for these wins as well. So I mean, that's a huge testament to just what you guys do week in and week out as well. So awesome job tonight though, Gabe. And say before we let you go though, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for that win this evening.
A huge shout out to the teammates, and Matt especially there. He did a fantastic job. I asked him if he wanted me to drop down. He said, just do what you got to do. And he pushed me on through to the win there. And the rest of the guys did a super job as usual. Delighted with it. And shout out to Area 51. The show keeps getting better. And your broadcast show keeps getting better also.
I appreciate it. Enjoy this one, Gabe. They got 3 more to go. Obviously, a way to start it off. That's what, pretty much getting everything you can out of that one. So you got 3 more to go, and we'll see how the points fall after race number 4. So enjoy this one. But I'm sure we'll be back to business next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 1 machine of Gabe Butler, getting the win tonight at Talladega. Again, really want to thank everybody that supports us here at Green White Checker, and of course with Area 51 Racing as well. So these guys have definitely been putting on some pretty impressive races over the past few weeks. And some of the new additions, they've been definitely stepping up their game, and I think stepping up the post race as well. I think somebody knows about that little gap in the wall that I definitely enjoy having some fun with there as well from time to time during races. Well, practice and after races, not during the race ideally. But yeah, just awesome job by all the drivers tonight. So obviously going to shake up the points a little bit for this opening one, but again, there's going to be 4 total races. It's not a winner take all, so you never know. I mean, bad luck could strike anybody at any time. So say if you didn't get a good result tonight, just gonna have to try to get more incentive to try to push for those final 3 races after this one. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it tonight. We'll be back again on Tuesday for race number 2 of the playoffs for the Indy Series. And then, of course, Thursday for the Premier Series, same thing for them. Race number 2 over there. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful evening and have a good night. And we'll catch you on Tuesday. Take care, everyone.